All right, so if you're a player who early extends or stands up in the downswing with your body, then here are my top 3 tips to help you fix that. Before we even get into the tips, first, make sure you're in balance at address. If you're standing over your toes and pressure's on your toes at address in this direction, the last thing you want to do is try and turn and hang over your toes. You're going to fall over out of balance. Instead, what we're going to do if we're on our toes is either we're going to start standing up in the backswing so we can move pressure back over the balls of our feet and be in balance, which is early extension. We're just standing up in the backswing. Or we'll stay there in the backswing, and then in the downswing, we'll try and back up out of it, again, to get pressure over the balls of our feet, and we have to throw everything at the golf ball just in order to reach it. So make sure you're not on your toes, because you'll want to stand back to get back in balance. But same thing on your heels. If we're over here on our heels, a thing you'll see all the time is players will start to lean in to get pressure back over the balls of their feet. Their body just shifted 2 or 3 inches closer to the golf ball. Now we're too close, and what do we need to do? We got to jump up and early extend to create space for that club. So whether you're on your heels, whether you're on your toes, early extension is probably going to happen if you're out of balance one way or another. Versus when you're in balance, it's much easier just to stay in balance, not have to shift around. Now, here would be my top 3 tips. Number 1 tip. Make sure your club face is not getting too far open. Why? Because if the face gets very open in this direction, we want to start letting that club pass our hands in order to square up the club face. Think about it from the opposite perspective. The more I get my face closed, the more I can lean the shaft forward to get the face back to square. Anytime I lean the shaft more forward without doing anything else, it will lead to more of an open club face. Well, again, if my face is closed, that pairs very nicely together. Well, what happens the more I get my shaft leaning forward? It makes a shorter swing radius, which is a fancy technical term for saying the distance from this club to my body gets shorter because I'm creating an angle, which means a direct line from that club to my body is shorter, aka that club gets more away from the ground. Well, what would I have to do if that club got away from the ground? I would then need to stay more down with my body in order to reach the golf ball. But if I did the opposite, if my face was open, which would make me want to start casting or scooping the golf ball, aka letting the club release more, the more I release that club, I'm very likely to hit the ball fat. So what do I need to do to create space and not hit that ball fat? I need to start jumping up in order to create space so I can make clean contact. So if my face is open, that's going to lead to that earlier release, that jumping motion in order to create space. So the first thing I would do is make sure my face is not getting too far open, because if it is, it'll affect my release pattern, which makes me want to jump up. But if my face is not open, it's getting more square or more to the closed side, I could then learn to lag the club and rotate, which means, again, that club will get off the ground and I then have the opportunity to stay down. We got to make sure the dominoes are in position if we want that final domino of not standing up to tick the way we're looking for it to have happen. So number 1 tip, don't have an open club face. Now, if your face is open, you could hood your face at address, you could make a stronger grip, you could bow or flex your lead wrist more, you could release the club more. There's many ways to close down the club face, but I work on first closing the face down, and then after that, then you could work on drills for lagging the club, rotating, and releasing later, which will ultimately lead to fixing your early extension. I know it's a lot of steps, but the steps are what they are. I can't magically change that for you. Tip number 2, if you early extend in the downswing, make sure you have enough depth in the backswing and make sure you have enough shallowing in the downswing. Depth and shallowing is essentially the same thing. It's a term for saying make sure this club is swinging enough from the inside in the downswing. The club isn't swinging from the outside or from an over-the-top position. The more I have depth, which means my hands are more behind me and I have turned my body more and my arms are not getting too high up in this direction, they have enough flatness to them over here, that creates depth, and depth makes me swing more from the inside. A lack of depth, again, makes me come more over the top. Well, a lot of players will just come over the top and they'll learn to hit slices. But eventually, players want to hit the ball high, they want to hit the ball far, and they want to hit the ball straight. They don't want to hit pull slices. That's what kind of all of us want to do. So what happens over time if I have no depth over here and I got to get this club back on plane? Well, I'm going to start tilting back with my body, I'm going to start standing up with my body, and I'm going to stop turning, because if you watch that club, it shifts it back on plane. Now, there's a lot of timing with my contact and my club face, but it at least shifts the club back on plane when I stand up like that, so I can swing towards the target. Again, not the best way to do it, but it is a way to start hitting higher, straighter shots. Less consistent, but higher and straighter in terms of curvature. So instead of having to do that, make sure you have enough depth. Make sure we have enough turn, we have enough spreading back of our arms are low enough to where instead of having to try and get that club to the inside with our body, it's already swinging from the inside, which means now if it's swinging from the inside, we can stay down and we can rotate and that club can still stay on plane as we're coming through. And that's the same thing with shallowing. Again, think of shallowing and depth as interchangeable. Depth is getting your hands in the club inside. Shallowing is dropping the club head inside. Both are getting the club to swing from the inside. So whether you do it from depth, whether you do it from shallowing, or a combination, if that club swings more from the inside, you have more opportunity to stay down in the shot and opposed to early extending, and you can rotate more, and that will let the club get on plane and swing towards the target. So make sure you have enough depth, make sure you have enough shallowing. Again, it is a domino piece that will help you get rid of early extension. And if you notice, the theme is that early extension is a reaction to being out of position, whether it be the club face or being out of balance at setup, or not having enough depth, not having enough shallowing. It is a reaction to being out of position, and that is our saving grace to try and do something with the club. It's not just something we just organically do. So make sure the dominoes are ticked in order to fix it. Because the last thing I want to see you do, I want to see anybody do, is keep an open club face, have no depth, have no shallowing of the shaft, be out of balance, and then all of a sudden somebody tells you, hey, what you got to do is you got to keep your butt back. Well, that's great until you start coming more over the top, you stuff your club in the earth, and your face is wide open and you start hitting shanks. Then it's not so fun anymore. So make sure you're in a position to stop early extending, then you can actually start to fix the problem. Then my final tip, once everything starts to get into position, is I would reverse engineer impact. This is where you could actually start to focus on keeping your right shoulder down, keeping your hips back, keeping your left leg extended back as you're coming into impact, all the actual motions with your body to stop early extending as opposed to standing up. Here's how I would reverse engineer impact. First, I would just say find your favorite player, but if we're trying to reverse impact, I'm going to give you some specific players. There's good ones to copy for this. Look at somebody like Ben Hogan, look at somebody like Sam Snead, look at somebody like Lee Trevino, look at somebody like Joaquin Neiman. People who are very exaggerated, and try and copy them. What they're going to do is they're going to have a lot of rotation in their hips and in their chest towards the target over here. The right shoulder is going to drop down towards the ball, which means my right arm has to bend is a checkpoint. I like to bend my arm so my tricep is the same angle as my spine or my back line, and it feels like my tricep is pinned against the side of my body over here. So turn, drop the shoulder, bend the arm, and then from there, drive your left hip back in this direction. If you do all of those things, you've now stayed very much down in the shot. Well, now you know where you want to go back up to the top of your swing, feel where you want to be at impact, and now you're creating motions to go down versus an early extender who's going up over here. And then train yourself by hitting shots. Start at that impact, swivel back, just hit a little chip shot like this. Start there, commit to moving into impact, don't throw it away to old habits. Commit to moving through impact even though it's a little chip, and then after you can do a chip shot consistently, make it a little bit bigger. Start at impact, make more of a half swing. Again, commit to moving through it, don't throw it away. Then more of a 3/4 swing, and then eventually you start at impact, make your full backswing, and move through impact all the way through until you can start to train that into your golf swing. And that would be the final kind of cherry on top. But again, all the dominoes need to be in order for that to start sticking. Otherwise, if your face is open, you're out of balance, you don't have depth, you don't have shallowing, well, you're going to try and do that, but it's just not going to work. Or you will do it, and you're just going to come over the top and chop, and you're not going to hit good golf shots. So again, dominoes come first, and then after that, then these impact drills can move you to the positions you want.